How's things? Welcome back to another video. This video, we're going to review the iPhone SE. I've been using it for a week, and there's some things I actually love about it, some things that made me wish I could stick with it, and some things that made me say, hang on a minute, why is this a thing? Let's get into it. Before we say anything, yes, new camera, microphone, lighting, on to the video. Yes, I loved the SE using it. From its chunk bezels to the mediocre battery. You heard me right, mediocre battery. That is the single biggest flaw with this phone. It's not the screen. The screen's incredible. I love how easy it is to pick up the phone, and when you're watching a video in landscape mode, you don't have to choose, do I want to watch it, with the bezels on the side, the black bars, or do I want to pinch and to zoom? None of that. You literally just look at the phone and it plays the video. You can simply use the phone with one hand. I can't remember the last time I've been able to use a phone with one hand. Well, yes I can. That was the iPhone 6 when I was using that, and the iPhone 5S, so there's that. I really did enjoy my time with the screen. It's very bright, easy to use, although in direct sunlight it can be a bit of an issue, unfortunately. If screen is your biggest thing, you're not going to be wanting this phone. But the phone's not for you if you're interested in having the biggest screen or having, the most high resolution. Because this is barely above 720p. 760p to be exact. But I didn't care using this because it was just so easy to use. Now, I mentioned the other thing. Battery. Battery is the single biggest killing point for me. I loved everything except for the battery. The battery had so much to offer, but it failed. If you're coming from an iPhone 13 mini or an iPhone 12 mini, for example, which you won't be, but for the record, it's going to be the same battery. Nothing better, nothing worse. I'd love to have seen what would have happened if this phone had gotten an OLED screen. Keep the 16:9 bezels, whatever. But give it an OLED screen so that when the screen is off, it's actually off. Let it take part in that revolution. Let it save battery. But to get 6 hours of screen on time, I had to charge it twice, sometimes 3 times a day, to use it the same way I use my 12. Now this iPhone 12 isn't actually, the be all end all. But it has significantly better battery, which is why you're not going to want to use the SE if you have an iPhone 12. And why I switched back to the 12, unfortunately. Now let's talk about the camera. The biggest selling point for me personally. The photographic styles. And I found that the contrasty photographic style was my favourite. And when I put photos up on Twitter and asked people, what took this photo? A lot of people said for some of them an iPhone 12, which really surprised me. But then I thought to myself, okay, what is doing this? It could be the A15 processor allowing for better computational photography. Or it could be the fact that, it is a better sensor, when in reality it's really just the sensor from the iPhone 8. Yeah, that phone that came out in 2017, same sensor. But it's the fact that it can do certain things like natural bokeh. I can literally, the same kind of footage that will come out of DSLR, snap a photo. And one person even said, hey, that's not a smartphone photo. That was taken on a DSLR. hate to break it to you, but unfortunately, that was taken on the SE. A lot of people just couldn't believe it. And that's what really strikes me about the SE. When it wants to, it can do amazing. But there's always that when it wants to. It's never, it always does it. It's when it wants to. I loved using the SE for a week, but I would never switch to it, unfortunately. Now, maybe that's because I've gotten used to using an iPhone 12. Maybe that's because in the future I've been, I'd like to go back to a Pro iPhone. Maybe it's because I'm not the target demographic. And that's true. If you're coming from an iPhone 12, or you're the kind of person to buy a new iPhone every year, this isn't for you. And to steal the title from Jacqueline Noingbo Tech's iPhone SE 2020 video 2 years ago, this is the phone for your grandmother. There's no better way of putting this. This is the phone for the person who just wants a phone. They don't care about what else has to offer. Just want a phone, and the SE will offer that. It's not for you. The storage options aren't great, but it's not for you. But when I address that fact, I have to address, you cannot leave out the fact that there are other phones in its price range that do have better options. But this is for the person that is going into the Apple Store. They're saying, okay, my contract's up, I think I'm due an upgrade. And they'll say, fantastic. What do you look for in a smartphone? And they'll say, oh, well, I sometimes call and text, and I sometimes take a picture, and I'm coming from my old iPhone 8 that the back is kind of cracked on it and all this. They're not going to recommend an iPhone 13. They'll just say, why would I want that feature? Just give me the new iPhone. And this is the phone for them. This is not the tech enthusiast's phone. That comes later in the year. This is the phone for your grandmother. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next one. Peace out.